येषां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोतं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि.
Namaste and welcome to KYG or Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam for this class in the Yoga Sutras. I'm at a very beautiful, peaceful, quiet, in a small temple which is known as the Parasunathar Kovil or the Parasunathar Temple. So Vyasa continues with the three gunas, and he says the first state of chitta that he explained to us in the previous one, the kshipta, which we can understand as the disturbed state. Now in terms of these qualities, Vyasa calls it rajas tamobhyam, rajas and tamas. Predominantly activity and inertia. The chitta is constantly bombarded with activities and inertia. Aishwarya, the chasing of mastery, possession, wanting luxuries and all of this constantly. Vishaya, objects, wanting to possess objects, that fulfillment of having bought one, and then the next desire comes and we chase the next desire. We have the iPod or the iPad version 1, and then the version 2 comes and we chase for the second one, and the third one comes. We have a 27-inch TV, we want a 46-inch TV, we want a 54 and a 96 and so on. Once one is fulfilled, then the next one starts, the next desire starts, and we are constantly caught. The chitta is caught between activity and inertia. Aishwarya, Vishaya, Priyam Bhavati. This is Rajas Tamobhyam. Rajas and Tamas. Rajas and Tamas. Rajas and Tamas. There is very little activity of sattva or elimination. Think about this for a second. Aren't we, many of us, run our lives not knowing where we are going? We begin our day, we run, we catch a bus or catch a train or pick up our car and we drive to work and we're caught in the work. We come back, watch TV, go to bed. In the middle somewhere we eat, we drink, we socialize. We're caught up with events, movies to watch, restaurants to eat, friends to meet, and we rest. And then we carry on the same thing day after day, week after week, month after month. If this is the quality, general quality of our lives, then we are in the kshipta state. Chitta is caught up in the kshipta, disturbed state. Let us analyze that, think about that. The next one is mudha. What does Vyasa say for the mudha state? He describes a state of inertia, mudha, a state of being in a state of stupidity, if you will, stupefied state, where the mind doesn't want anything, nothing. So adharma, there is no sense of virtue or wanting to follow virtue or no sense of values, nothing. Adharma. This mind doesn't know to distinguish, doesn't want to distinguish. So those kind of impressions are being put by the mind onto the chitta, where the chitta is constantly now bombarded from just those impressions. Ajnana, ignorance, no desire to learn anything, wanting to know anything, learn a new language or do anything. I mean, it just is in that. This is different from rajas, right? So a state of complete inertia. So there is adharma, ajnana. Then avairagya. There is no sense of detachment. There is clinging, possession, and a false sense of fulfillment. Avairagya. This is the stupefied state of the mind that is being imprinted on the chitta, and therefore the chitta becomes that. None of these are objective realities in us, chitta or mind. It is just an energy, and therefore when the chitta is in that state, chitta becomes that. Anaishwarya is there is no desire for mastery, there is no desire for learning anything, there is no desire for position, complete inertia. Tamasanu viddham. This is mudha state of the chitta. So you have kshipta and the mudha. Then we come to vikshipta. So in the vikshipta stage, Vyasa explains, now the chitta is caught in what is called prakshina moha varanam. The moha or the delusion is removed. Prakshina, illumination exists, but there is a lot of rajas still active. A lot of rajas or activity oriented activities, thoughts, feelings, emotions, all of that is still active in this state. What kind of thoughts, what kind of feelings? So exactly opposite to the mudha state, he says this one is dharma. The mind is caught in dharma, sense of values, sense of this is right, that is wrong, this is virtue, that is vice, this is black, that is white, this one is inferior, that one is superior. So we create a sense of values, a sense of what is right, what is wrong, and the mind is caught in chasing the right. So we get caught in the dharma. Jnana, again we are chasing an illumination versus ignorance, light versus darkness. That is also an activity. Now there is an influence of illumination on this because you are using intellect, intuition. So it is better than vikshipta or the kshipta or the disturbed state, right? This one is a distracted state. The first one that I explained was a disturbed state. Kshipta is disturbed. Mudha is stupefied state, dull, inertia. Vikshipta is distracted. So, dharma, jnana, vairagya. Oh, I need to get detached. I'm too attached. I need to practice detachment, discernment, and all of those activities that we begin to filter out what is important, what is permanent, what is impermanent. Okay? So all of that, vairagya comes in, and the mind of the chitta is now filled with the ideas of dharma, jnana, which is knowledge, vairagya, a sense of detachment, where should I be detached, when I should be detached, and then aishwarya, a sense of mastery. I need to master my body, I need to control my thoughts, I need to control my mind, all of that. All of that is where the mind gets distracted. It is not a state of yoga yet, but it is an important development over the previous two states. So that now the chitta is bombarded with this, is enveloped with this. Let us think about this for a few seconds. The state of vikshipta, as seekers in spirituality, as followers of a particular doctrine, a dogma, religion, or even spirituality in all its freedom, we begin to get caught up in sense of what is right, what is wrong, what I should think, what I should not think, what I should do and not do, and all of that. We kind of get ourselves trapped in a golden cage, if it were. That is still a cage. Because the moment I feel I am spiritual, he is and she is not spiritual, I am more spiritual, somebody else is very materialistic, this is bad, this is materialistic, this is spiritual. And all of these kind of differences, the chitta entertains, the chitta is bombarded. Vikshipta, you constantly get distracted, and therefore most of us spend our time getting caught in doing what is right as opposed to staying away from what is wrong, and we just get caught and life just goes on. It's a much better state. Nevertheless, you can't get caught up in simply filtering good versus bad, black versus white, and so on. The state of yoga has not yet come because there is an element of rajas with an influence of sattva in it. So we have to understand that this is that guna. Then Patanjali comes to the prakhya, the state of sattva, the state of pure illumination. That is where he describes the chitta to be in ekagraha state, where yoga begins to happen. Like I explained in the previous episode, yoga begins with ekagraha, not before that. oh, I'm caught up in doing asanas, what methods, what techniques, all of that comes under vikshipta stage. Now I am completely established in one practice. The practice is all that exists. A thought is all that exists. Now that screen, if you will, going back to our analogy, the screen which is projecting the movie ceases. And I open my eyes and look around, and all I see is a white illumination. The floor is white, the ceiling is white, everything is white. I am aware that I am seeing the white. And all that exists in this whiteness around me is me, the I. Ekagra, a state of illumination. Now, let us go back to our definition. Yogaś-citta-vṛtti-nirodha. In this state of ekagraha, one-pointedness, there is that one-pointed thought, there is that one-pointed object, there is that one-pointed I that exists. So that is that one vritti that exists. So think of it in this analogy. I am in this theater and everything is white. I look around. All I am now seeing is just myself and nothing else. Everything is enveloped in light and radiance. I have the I that is experiencing this whiteness and illumination. So the I is therefore a vritti, one vritti. When that vritti ceases, when that vritti merges into the whiteness and all that remains is white, who is to experience that? No answer. We will understand this in the next class. But that state where even the I merges into the whiteness, into the illumination, and all that remains is illumination, then yoga comes into being. And therefore, Patanjali says, yogaś-citta-vṛtti-nirodha. That one vritti is also merged, ceases, and then the self is completely absorbed. Nirodha takes place. Ekagra and nirodha. So we have kshipta, disturbed state of the chitta, mudha, stupefied state of the chitta, vikshipta, distracted state of the chitta, ekagraha, where the chitta has just one impression in it, where yoga begins. But yoga is complete when even that impression merges. When that merges, no chitta remains. There is no chitta. Because there is no impression, there is no form of the chitta. No thoughts, no intellect, and all that remains is the supreme illumination. In this beautiful commentary, Vyasa does make a very important observation, and I will leave you all with this thought. He says, the chitta has got these gunas, but the spirit, the true spirit, the infinite being, the Shiva in us, the Brahman in us, the Christ consciousness in us, the Buddha, if you will, that is not affected by the chitta or anything that happens in the chitta. That has always was, is, and will be pure and infinite. When I say I am God, when I say I am Shiva, it is not Sunder that is saying this. The Shiva is saying I am Shiva because only Shiva can say I am Shiva. Only the Christ can say I am the Christ. That is why Jesus had to be crucified for Christ to be born. Sundar has to die for Sai to be born. Sundar has to die for Shiva to be born. In other words, Sundar dies with that chitta. And when chitta all ceases, all that remains is Shivoham. It is in that context that Adi Shankara sings this beautifully. Mano buddhi ahankar chittani naham nacha shrotra jigve nacha grana netre nacha vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayuhu chidananda rupaha shivoham shivoham.
Om Namah Shivaya.
I am not the petty mind. I am not the proud intellect. Neither the mighty ego nor the minute thought am I. Touch and hearing, taste and seeing, I am not the sensual feelings. I am not the element of earth. I am not the elusive ether. Neither the fierce fire nor the wailing wind am I. I am truth, consciousness, divine bliss. I am the Shiva. The Shiva am I. I am the Shiva. The Shiva am I. I am the Shiva. The Shiva am
I. Kaivalya